everyone, my name's Fiona and I am taking part in the 5 Facts About My AIESEC Experience challenge. And I want to start off by thanking everyone for their nominations and I hope that I can provide you with some entertainment value over the next wee while. So what I've decided to do is to give you 5 facts about my AIESEC experience and then some things that I kind of learnt from there. Alrighty, so let's get started. So fact number 1 is that my role as member committee president of AIESEC in New Zealand was my first real leadership role. So I'd never been an LCP, a local committee president, I'd never been an organising committee president of a conference or any kind of major project or experience. So rocking into office as the head of the organisation was my first real leadership role. And I had always really been interested in leadership. Coming up to this experience, I'd always kind of signed up for those classes, those courses, those self-development activities. And my friend Ola once told me a really great quote that her grandma had said to her. So her grandma would look at Ola and say, "Ola, you're a leader, and you need to know that people are going to look to you for leadership. And when they do, you better damn well know what you're going to do about it." And that really resonated with me. I really like that quote, is that, yeah, people will look to you for leadership. And so you want to develop that as much as you can. And I think that AIESEC was AIESEC was a really magnificent platform for me in doing that. And I learned and got to experience all kinds of crazy things that I never would otherwise had I not been part of this organization. I learned about people, I learned about myself, about my management style, about what I'm good at and not. And I think it required me being a leader, and it also required me being a member as equally important parts of that leadership journey. And I think it's funny because now coming out of this AIESEC experience, I think it's only now that you start to realize that things that you think are normal as an AIESECer are not normal to the rest of the world. They're really weird. So things that you learn in AIESEC, such as HR planning, about functional planning, about expectation settings, about financing, about budgeting, about structures, about organizational development, about run sheets and agendas and logistics and job descriptions. Not normal skills. That kind of broad overview that you can have over things is not normal to the outside world. And I experienced this when I decided to simplify situations by sending people Excel sheets or logistics runs, and they kind of are either really, really weirded out or really, really impressed. And the thing you kind of learn is that AIESECers are not normal people, because the skills that you learn in this organization are just incredible. So yes, I learned a lot about leadership, a lot about management, and a lot about organizations during my time in AIESEC. Second fact about my AIESEC experience is that I actually joined AIESEC in my final year of studies. So I joined in my honours year, and I thought, oh, you know, like one little club, like won't hurt, won't take up too much time, and I'll only be here for a year. Yeah, so 4 years later, I finally finished my AIESEC experience. And I use the word finally very loosely because, you know, lifelong connection, I'm still very closely affiliated to the organisation, and it's still, yeah, I still like to be involved and hear about kind of what's going on. But when I joined in my final year of study, I was pretty certain that I knew about who I was as a person. But I had just come back from a very, very life-changing experience in Argentina, and the things that I thought that I was certain about, I no longer was. And I knew that I wasn't the same person that I was coming back from Argentina than the person who left on that plane from Auckland. And so I joined AIESEC feeling a little bit lost, not entirely certain about what it was that I was doing, not entirely convinced about my direction in life. And AIESEC was really the best thing that has ever happened to me, because it allowed me to really learn about who I am as a person. It helped show me my strengths, my weaknesses, allowed me to fail in the most spectacular ways, and also to succeed in the most spectacular ways as well. Like, I was really able to do things that I would never normally have found the opportunity to do. It showed me what I was really, really passionate about. And I think something that meant the most to me was that it allowed me to share my passion with other people. And the most rewarding experiences I had in the organisation were where I was able to encourage people to see people blossom and grow and to do things that they never felt that they could do. And that really, really made a huge positive impact on me. So I now know a lot about what makes me passionate, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and I have a more strong, more firm direction in my life and my purpose. So I'm really thankful to AIESEC for that. The third fact that I have is that before I joined AIESEC, and even right up until my member committee experience, I used to let other people make my choices for me. And one of the hardest pieces of feedback I ever got was that my teammates looked at me and said, "Fiona, you have to stop being a victim." And that was a really hard piece of feedback. And at first it really, really hurt. At first it just hurt a lot. And I just couldn't, understand, why would they say that to me? But then I started to think about it more. And it was them saying to me that I needed to stand up for myself more and stop, being all unhappy when something didn't go my way, as part of that. And I realized that, I was letting other people drive the course for me, and I was letting other people make those important decisions for me, and that wasn't okay. That wasn't up to my standards. And I think one of the firmest learning points I had of this, and one of the best examples, is when I was in Italy waiting to take the plane back home to New Zealand. And I was with another girl. We had some time earlier in the day, so we were out shopping. We were going through the markets, and I started to look at the time. I was like, oh, it's getting a little bit close. Maybe we should start to head off. And I thought, I'll leave it. She'll say something soon enough, and then we can head off. So we keep browsing around, looking at things, looking at the time. Like, no, it'll be fine. Just give it a little while. We'll see. We're looking around a little bit more, going to some more shops, looking at postcards and fridge magnets, and I start to realize that maybe she's not going to say anything. And I understand at that point that I have two choices. The first choice is that I can continue to wait for her to say something, and maybe she will, maybe she won't. Maybe we'll make the plane, maybe we won't. Or I can say something, and still maybe we'll make the plane, maybe we won't. But at least I know that I tried and that I did something to change that situation. And that was a really powerful moment for me, and a very, very clear one at that. I think a lot of times we have situations in life where we do have a choice, and we need to take the steps to make something happen with that, and it's not as evident as catching a plane, for example. But another example is, people come to you and they say, such and such, they really annoyed me, they really did this, this and this, or, my manager, he never lets me do this, or she's always like that, or always doing this and that. And I wonder, what have you done, what have you done to change that? And a lot of the times they'll say, oh, nothing. So, well, why not? And they'll say something like, oh, it's not that important, or, oh, I'm sure it will get better, or, it's not my responsibility, they should know how to do their job, or, oh, she should just know that it's like this. And all I can think in those situations is, if you don't do anything, if you do nothing, the only thing that you can guarantee is that nothing is going to happen. So even though it's really hard to have those tough conversations, they're called hard conversations for a reason, right? And I know that because I'm really afraid of them, but it's something that you have to learn to overcome, because you come to understand that if you don't have the conversation, it's better to have the conversation and have it be hard in the short term than it is to let that situation fester and get worse. You just have to rip off the band-aid and make it happen. And it's hard, but you have to be courageous and you have to make the choice to do it. Because leadership and management are all about choices. Not just the choices that we do make, but equally as much so the choices that we choose not to make. So, leadership and management are about choices. The fifth fact that I have is that the fourth fact that I have is that I did not want to be MCP. I didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't think that I had the right skill sets. And I was really, really afraid of failing. I was really, really terrified, because I knew that even though I felt really strongly about the organisation and I had really big dreams, really big goals, and I felt very passionately about the organisation and about the country and about the people and about all the things that we could be achieving but weren't, I didn't believe that I was the right person for it. I didn't believe that I had the right skills. And I was really afraid of letting people down and about failing. And the reason why I chose to run for MCP was because I acknowledged that I didn't know for certain whether I could or could not do it. And part of that was where my fear came from. I knew that if I chose to be afraid of something that I cared, an organisation that I cared so passionately about, then what else was I going to let fear dictate? And so I chose not to let fear drive my decision in that instance. And again, I was rewarded by knowing that if you ever feel uncertain or afraid of something, then it's usually something worth doing. And that has been highlighted to me so many times during my life. And I can honestly say that looking at the person that I am today after my MCP experience compared to the person that I was, a year and a half ago, the magnitude of impact and the learning experience that I have had can only be compared and is only on par to my 5 months experience living in Argentina. It was that impactful on me and that life-changing. So fear really is an opportunity that only the brave will seize, and you will be richly rewarded when you do. So now the fifth fact that I have about my IT experience is that in the last 18 months, I have been privileged enough to travel to every single continent save Antarctica and to explore nearly all of Asia, which is a continent that I never imagined that I would be able to. Well, actually, sorry, never imagined. I'd never really been interested in going there. I'd always been more drawn to South America, Latin America, to Europe. And I think it was really a gift that I was able to explore this area that I wasn't expecting to or wasn't planning to. Really was an unexpected journey. But throughout my travels, I've really learned that the incredible people that you'll meet from all around the world, the more diverse and different the people that you encounter, the more you really learn about yourself, because they shine light on different elements and different facets and bring your awareness to things that you had never even considered before. And these people from all around the world, actually we're not all that different. We all have similar hopes and dreams. We still talk about love. We still have career aspirations. We still have fears, but we're all very, very similar. And I learned from my experiences meeting other people that if you can surround yourself with positive and strong people, then you'll be a positive and a strong person. And you will never want for anything. And I have a really excellent example of this. So on the last night of International Presidents meeting, the Asia Pacific presidents all got together because we'd become very close over the course of our experience, and we realized that this was, one of the last times that we were going to be in the same room together, and we really wanted to make the most of that opportunity. So we went up to one of the rooms and someone had a little bit of drink left, so we dished out our cups and we all sat around in a circle and we poured out what was left, probably about like this much maybe, and we were just hanging out having a chat when one of the presidents showed up. He was a little bit late and we'd already distributed all of the drink, but you know what happened next is that someone got him a cup. It went into the middle of the circle, and then without anyone really acknowledging the situation, everyone's just having their conversation, things are carrying on as normal. Every single person in that circle picked up their cup and poured a little bit into the final cup, until by the end, everyone had something to share. And that moment really highlighted to me that if you surround yourself with the right people, there's always going to be someone who's there for you. There will always be someone who is willing to help you. And if ever you have needs, all you need to do is put forward your cup, and guaranteed someone will come forth to fill it. So, to summarize my 5 facts and my AIESEC experience, I want to remind you that where there is valor, there is hope. Fortune favours the brave. And lastly, to kind of summarize everything, I remember when I was little, I learned that poppies, they only grow when the soil is a little bit churned up. And I think this is really, really true of people as well, is that you're only going to grow and you're only going to develop as a person when you change up your surroundings, when you make the choice to do that, and when you choose to no longer be afraid to do that. So what I wish for you is that I hope that you can go out there, shake up your surroundings, find your own experiences, and grow, really grow like crazy, and never, never, ever let anybody cut you down.